Hi friends and welcome. My name is Dana and thanks for joining me for this hip, neck, and shoulder series. This is a series that will be seated, entirely seated on the ground. So make sure you have the lift that you'll need under your hips for support. I will have a blanket, have blankets, blocks, whatever it is you need to take care of yourself. We will do a little bit of hamstring stretch as well, so if you're tight that way, have a yoga belt available. So to get started, let's come on over to the sticky mat and sit on any support you're using and sit to be comfortable. So I'm choosing Siddhasana. I would like you to sit in a way that you're able to lift, effortlessly lift. So in other words, you shouldn't feel like you're sitting here and it's like a strain to hold the seat. Please take care of yourself and use any support that you may need. Open your chest and shoulders, lift through your spine, and feel your hands on your thighs. Let your hands gently relax your thighs down. Lift through your spine. Soften your shoulders away from the ears. Soften your eyes. And breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. And center yourself in your breathing. Transition into that yoga mind state. So that said, allow any thoughts to soften. Give yourself permission to let go of any thoughts. Center yourself in your body and your breathing. Give yourself that gift. The gift of being present in this moment. The gift of self-care with this neck, shoulder, and hip work. The gift of a fully present and connected inhalation and exhalation. Feel your breath, feel it with gratitude. Feel it with gratitude and place your hands in front of your heart. Press your palms and gently roll your shoulders back one more time. Maintain the lift of your chest as you gently place your hands to your sides and onto the ground. Be light on your fingertips. Lift your chest, lift your head, and begin to gently rock your head side to side. Be easy. You should feel the stretch in the long side of the neck. And right now, we're softening the shoulders away from the ears. We're keeping the chest level, the chest square, and working solely on the neck for this moment. Relax and perhaps increase the range of motion in the neck. But be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, and breathe deep as you move the head. Then you roll your chin forward, down and to the side, and then forward, down and to the side. keep your chest lifted, your shoulders soft as you roll your head side to side. Deep breaths. Soften your shoulders. Deep breaths. Keep your chest lifted and your spine lifted. A couple more times. Working on your neck. Then when your chin comes to the center of the chest, let your head lift up. We're going to add the upper spine in. So as I take my ear to my shoulder, see how I start to move my shoulders slightly and my upper back, and I'm going to start to move side to side. So you might like using your hands to your side. You might also like using your hands on your thighs. And you can decide which feels better for you. And as I continue to move side to side, I'm breathing deep. I begin to move my middle back as well. Notice how I'm not cranking my shoulders up into my ears. I'm breathing into my hips, my abdomen, my back. I'm adding my low back in as well as I take that side to side work. I actually feel one side of my spine stretching and then the second side of my entire spine, stretching the muscles that run along the spine. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. And gently rock. Now, we're going to mimic what we did with the neck. So as you go to one side, you're going to roll forward. And actually, I'm gently rounding, you can see, rounding my spine forward. And then I move into the side bend gently to the first direction. And then I gently roll through center and into the second direction. So for me, it feels better to have my hands on my legs. It might feel better for you to use your hands on the floor. The knees might be a good option. Okay, just tune in and listen to yourself. Gently opening through the muscles of your back. And I do ask that you observe your own spine as well as the muscles of your back. If this is feeling quite intense, you should stay with this work. Okay, you're going to keep your hands pulled in towards your center more. But as I come back through center and lift up through my spine, notice how I'm going to lean my torso, and notice how right now I'm leaning my torso and lengthening both sides of my torso as I extend up. So this is, again, a great option. Staying here or staying here is a great option if you're tight, and if you have a tricky back that you need to be careful about bending, stay right here. Let's repeat this on the second side. So you take your fingers out to the side and stretch. Just be kind to your spine, even while your muscles are stretching. But I'm lengthening both of my sides, and I'm feeling like side angle pose in my side. And then I come back through center, and I do the first side. And notice how now, so I know I'm a bit more prepared in my muscles, and my spine likes this. As I come into my right hand more, see how now I begin to take a bit of a side body opening. I'm actually bending my spine a bit like we did with the hands in. Come back through center. Take your left hand out away from you and stretch through the right arm. It's fine to stay here. It's fine to stay here. that is hand in closer, it's less of a bend. It's less pressure on the spine. But notice how I'm starting to side bend a bit more deeply through my top arm. And then I would lift up through center. So you can begin to move side to side as you take one arm out. First, stretch the sides, and then bend the sides, and then lift up, and second side. Now keep breathing deep, full and complete, as you work into where you have some tightness, some tension. So with these side bends, it can affect the breath. So do keep breathing deep, full and complete. Breathing into your hips, into your sides. Finishing up between your two sides. And once you have, take your hands back behind you and spread your legs out. So this is a wide-legged seated pose, Upavishta Konasana. Notice how my toes are up. My toes are pulling towards my shins, and I firm my knees, push them into the ground as I lift my chest. I lift my chest, my spine, and my sides. Sit on as much of a lift as you need to keep your back flat or straight, like completely vertical. For me, it works better to sit straight on the ground in this pose. Now, with your hands next to your sides, roll your shoulders back, open your chest, and start to twist into your right leg. So now it's a lift and rotation. I roll both shoulders back as I lift my spine and turn. Deep breaths. Straighten your legs. Lift your spine and turn. Stay with your breath. Take your right hand a bit farther forward. Firm and turn your navel. Rotate your back and reach your left hand towards your foot. It could be thigh, shin, foot. You could use the belt. But notice how I'm keeping my spine extended. I'm rolling my shoulders back. And I'm spreading my shoulder blades actually away from my spine while they're descending. So breathe deep into your back, your legs. Keep your back flat. Pull your chest forward. Firm and turn your navel as you stretch the legs, the back, lengthen the spine and rotate the spine. With your inhalation, you can lift up gently and take your time to twist to the second direction. So you would pause, first lifting, then rotating. Roll your shoulders back and breathe. Full deep breaths in and out. Firm, turn the navel, and take your hand as it's ready to towards your thigh, towards your shin, maybe towards your foot. See what's available to you. Maybe the belt is a great choice for you. Roll your shoulders back, keep your legs straight. So stretching the hips, the hamstrings, the back. I'm guessing when you're doing it this way, it's a strengthening of the back, then a rotation in the back. The navel firms and turns. The shoulders, they roll back and down as the shoulder blades spread away from the spine. Breathe deep. Breathe deep, full, and complete. Breathe into your back, your legs, your hips. And take that final full, deep breath in and out. Then inhale gently through center with your hands next to your sides. You can then sit into bound angle pose. So I choose to sit on a lift, and I'm going to show a loose bound angle pose, which means my feet are pretty far away from my hips right now. So the objective with this pose is that the knees are on the same height as the hips or lower. So notice how I take my hands behind me, I firm my outer knees to my outer hips, and that begins to move my knees towards the ground. So that's how we open the hips. We want to strengthen the hips in order to bring the knees down. This should be felt in the hips, not the knees. That would be a reason to put props under the knees, okay? But this should be felt in the hips, the inner thighs. Roll the shoulders back and breathe. You can always stay in this loose knee bend, or you can bring your feet closer in towards you, bound angle pose. See how I'm pressing the pinky toes and pulling the big toes away. And when I sit here, I have to strengthen in my outer hip muscles to bring my knees, not just down. So this is me trying to just pull my knees straight down. It actually tightens the inner thighs a little bit. So can you instead stretch your inner thighs, pull them in opposite directions? I'm actually strengthening and lengthening, strengthening and lengthening, strengthening my butt muscles, and then moving my knees in opposite directions. You could keep the hands behind you. You could take your hands towards your ankles. But the objective here, so in these seated poses, in these seated hip openers, stay in that pose, stay. In these seated hip openers, we actually need to keep the back firm, straight, and lifted. So this back position, it's important when we're working on hip openers for building proper postural strength and making lasting change in the hips. So if you're cramping in your back, you could always take your back against the wall and roll your shoulders back against the wall behind your back. Take care of yourself, but let's take another 2 to 3 deep breaths. And if you're in that rounded spine, you're not going to make progress quite as well. Okay? So then extend your legs forward into staff pose, into Dandasana. I'm showing with my big toes touching. If you feel like you can't lift your back, spread your legs. Okay? Otherwise, big toes touching, and I roll both of my shoulders back. See how I'm squeezing? I'm actually squeezing my thighs, my leg muscles, and stretching through my legs. And notice how as I roll my shoulders back, I start to come forward. Notice how I'm keeping my back flat as I take my hands forward, maybe to my thighs, maybe towards my shins, maybe even towards like the big toes. But notice how my back is flat. My chest is lifting. So since today we're working on our posture muscles, to strengthen and stretch the back, neck, shoulders, and hips. I'm going to ask today, at least for a time, that we're staying in this concave back. Another 3 deep breaths. I know it's difficult. For a lot of us, it's difficult to keep this shape in the back, but it's worth it, I promise. And then lift your spine all the way up. Lean back into your hands. And now, bend your knees, spread your feet as wide as the sticky mat. Weight bear into your arms. So see how I'm rolling my shoulders back. I'm in it's like a Purvottanasana prep. Intense stretch of the east. And as I lean back into my arms, I draw my navel towards my low spine. And see how I'm just gonna rock my legs side to side. So I'm actually rolling my legs right, and I'm gonna look my head left over my left shoulder. And then I firm navel to spine center, and I change. So I'm looking over right shoulder, and I push my knees towards the ground. I come center, and I change. And I'm gonna ask you to keep breathing deep as you rock your legs in both directions. Keep breathing deep into your belly, into your hips, into your back, neck, and shoulders. And as it opens up for you, feel free to push your knees into the ground and turn your head the opposite direction. Last couple times. So just again, range it out to the level that you can. And then center. And as you sit, we're going to repeat this sequence one more time. So will you spread your feet wide into Upavishta Konasana? So the same types of things are coming. So if you want to go grab a prop, for example, now would be a great time. And we're going to repeat. So you press down through your legs and make sure that you can lift your spine up. Draw your navel to your spine, roll your shoulders back, straighten your legs, and turn. So breathe and rotate. Roll your shoulders back, breathe and rotate. Now see how I'm going to keep firming, turning, churning my abdomen, hand towards the foot, lengthen the spine, firm and turn, firm and turn. Now I'm going to shake my head out side to side, but I keep turning my spine to the right. Firming and turning, firming and turning. At that concave back position, we'll get to the forward bend aspect, okay? So just stick with this concave back strengthening work for your posture. As you come back through center, lift your chest one more time and inhale to come up. I firm my navel, stabilize through center, go to my second side, roll my shoulders back, strengthen the legs, lengthen the legs, firm and turn, firm and turn, firm and turn, hand towards the foot, press through both of your hands, lift your spine, firm your navel, turn your navel, shake your head out side to side, full deep breaths. Roll your shoulders back and away from the ears. Breathe deeply into your back while you're stretching your legs, your hips, your neck and shoulders. Firming the navel, but lifting your spine with that last deep breath. And inhaling to come back through center, bound ankle pose. Knees wide, feel free to keep your legs loose, or you can bring the soles of your feet closer to you. Pinky toe, side of the foot, pressing pinky toe, side of the foot. I actively stretch my inner thighs towards my knees. I roll my shoulders back, second time, in bound angle pose. So in other words, see how I can keep my legs where they are and my spine where it is and lift my hands up. So that's kind of a nice test for you on observing where your range of motion is at in your hips. Roll the shoulders back, keep your back flat and come forward any amount. Roll your shoulders back and come forward any amount. Inhalation, lifting up. Bring your knees towards each other. Use your hands if you need to, otherwise strengthening inner thighs. 2 legs forward, staff pose. I'm keeping feet together. You can spread them if you need. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, come forward with a flat back. So your hands could be on your thighs, your shins, your big toes, your outer feet. You could use a belt. You can keep your back flat and pull your chest forward and through. Now, as you keep lifting your chest, shake your head or nod your head in a yes shape and keep breathing into your back. Keep breathing into your back as you roll your shoulders back. When your head comes to center, shake it out. No. A couple more deep breaths. When you come back through center and lift up, you're going to bend your knees and lean back into your arms. You're going to windshield wiper the legs again. With your navel drawn in, rock your legs. And rock your legs. So you're shaking your head side to side. And you know, this sequence, I was interested to teach something like this because there is a very strong relationship between hip tightness and neck and shoulder tension. And so you might really observe, like, holy cow, I cannot turn my head, or my back is cramping, or something. It's just really great to notice what's going on in your body. Make those connections for yourself. And when you come back through center, have your feet set hips width apart, and we're going to move into figure 4 shape. So notice how I'm keeping my back flat. Right ankle onto the thigh, and I'm stretching my right hip open. I'm rolling the shoulders back. Breathe into that right hip. Draw your navel to your spine, keep your back strong. Feel free to stay right here if you like, or you could start to walk forward, but notice how my back is lifted. Notice how my back is lifted as I even take my hands forward towards my leg. So test that out for yourself. Take a few more deep breaths in this stage. This should be all hip stretch. It shouldn't feel like it's knee strain. A back strengthening is great. And then again, to address the neck and shoulders, I ask you now to lean back into your left hand. Take your right hand and forearm towards your foot. So I'm actually pushing my right hand into the foot, and then see how I roll my shoulders back and I start to turn. So now you'll see here too, I can start to saw my right arm past my foot, and then I'm going to turn a little more. So I'm keeping my spine extended, but I feel my right shoulder blade start to stretch towards the right foot. and I turn my head over the left shoulder. And then inhaling to come back through center. Stretch both of your legs out into staff pose before you do second side. You're going to bend your knees and take your left ankle onto your right thigh. You can start by leaning back into your hands to do that, but keep your back flat. It's fine to stay here. You might also notice how it feels to both lift your spine and come forward with your chest. Deep breaths. Deep breaths into your hips, your back, neck, and shoulders. I keep my navel drawn towards my spine. You could also try leaning back into the right hand, taking your left hand towards your foot. Now, you have to keep your spine extended, but simultaneously lengthen through the left arm and glide your left shoulder blade towards your hand. Roll your shoulders back, lift your spine, and turn. If that's too much, no problem. You can just stay backed off. You can also notice how here I am level in my hips. I breathe into my back. And take those last few deep breaths. And again, just making the connections between tightness in your hips, maybe range or lack of range in your neck, tightness in your back. It's very interesting. And then bring it on through center and extend your legs forward into staff pose first. Spread your feet if you need to. Have your hands next to your sides. Roll your shoulders back. So now we're going to come to the concave back shape and go forward now. So now we're going to start to open the back muscles and relax them. But first, hinge at your hips. Keep your legs and back strong and then come forward. So strengthen your postural muscles. Roll both of your shoulders back. Lengthen your spine forward. To take your chest forward, kick your heels down into the ground and push forward through your big toes. Kick down through your heels, push forward through your big toes, lengthen your spine forward. Keep your navel drawn in, roll your shoulders back. Taking your hands to wherever it is that you can get a really firm grip at this point. If you have back issues, disc issues, I might recommend staying right here. Otherwise, as I strengthen my legs, I'm going to exhale, go forward, lift my elbows up. I keep my head above my heart, but I'm folding. I'm not just folding forward. I'm not thinking going down. I'm thinking taking my head towards my feet. I take my head towards my feet and I try to grow my spine, lengthen my torso. Just take a couple full deep breaths into that stretch of your legs. With your next inhale, can you concave your back and sit upright? Then come to a wide-legged seated pose. Again, Upavishta Konasana. Wide-legged seated pose. Last one. So we're gonna do the same twist that we did and forward fold, adding in now. So hands to the sides, roll the shoulders back, firm your navel, turn your navel, lift your chest, turn your chest, lift your spine, turn your spine, but breathe down as you take left hand towards the right outer foot, lengthen and turn. So again, if you have disc issues, for example, I would recommend staying in the concave back shape, navel firming and turning. If you feel like it's pulling on your back a lot, or even medium, back off or stay in this position. But otherwise, as I firm and turn my abdomen, I'm gonna go forward. So I think forehead to my toes. I'm taking my forehead to my toes. As I lengthen forward over my right leg, I'm turning my abdomen and lengthening through my waist. Soften your shoulders, lengthen your spine. Take a few full deep breaths. Inhale, concave back, and lift it up. I gently come through center, hands to the sides, roll my shoulders back, firm my navel, turn. One final side, hand towards the foot while you turn your abdomen. Strengthen your back. Roll your shoulders back. Stretch your legs. Lengthen your legs. Breathe into your back, neck and shoulders. Lengthen your spine and turn, turn, turn. Relax and deepen your breath as you keep your back strong. If you're coming forward, begin to take your forehead towards your foot. Take your forehead towards your foot, not forehead down. Think forehead forward. Inhale to your concave spine. Inhale to come through center. Last bound angle pose. Last bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. Bring your feet now to the appropriate position for you, whatever this is for you. Press your outer feet, firm your outer hips, lift your spine, lift your chest. Keep your back strong as you come forward with a flat back first. Flat back first. Lengthen your spine. Stretch your knees in opposite directions. As you keep your back flat and you come forward, 3 times to release the inner thighs. We're going to do a muscle activation technique. So you bend your elbows and take your elbows towards your inner thighs, wherever it is they're touching. And then 3 times, can you push your inner thighs up into your knees? So you're gonna feel your inner thighs strengthen. You might be able to lengthen your spine even more as you press up into your elbows. Now be gentle with yourself as you pull your inner thighs off of your elbows, and see how I'm pulling my elbows in to go forward. I'm not pushing my elbows on my inner thighs. I'm building muscle tone to take me forward. If you push down on your inner thighs, you're not going to make lasting change, and you risk overstretching and injury. So second time, see how I take my elbows out to the sides and I touch my elbows to my inner thighs. You might need to use your hands. I'm stiffer in the hips, so elbows works for me. And then I'm gonna push second time, my inner thighs up into my elbows. See how I'm rolling my shoulders back and stretching through the crown of my head. Push, 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 up. Now see how I bring my elbows off of my inner thighs, I pull them in, and I stretch my inner thighs in opposite directions. It takes me deeper into the bound ankle pose. Keep stretching through the crown of your head, and one more time. Spread your elbows out. Press your inner thighs up into your elbows. Press up, press up. Let your spine lengthen even more away from your hips. Stretch the crown of your head. Keep your back flat. Push up, push up, push up. Then pull, peel your legs off of your elbows and stretch forward. Now stretch your forehead forward and take last 5 deep breaths in that deepest forward bend yet. And then inhaling, lengthen your spine, concave back. Lift yourself up gently. Bring your legs towards each other and stretch your legs out in staff pose. Dandasana. Legs forward, legs straight, shoulders open. Kick your heels down, lift your chest up. Lift your chest up, keep your legs straight, your back lifted, and just take a nice, long, strong stretch through both of your sides. Feel both of your sides lengthen evenly up. And release your arms to your sides. And come towards a seated pose that you can be comfortable in. I would invite you to choose the posture you started class in, because it's probably going to feel quite different at this point in class. So now as you place your palms towards your thighs and let your shoulders roll back, your chest open, feel your hips, your back, your neck, and your shoulders, and we're going to come back full circle to that neck mobility that we did earlier. So please have your hands where it feels good. Soften your shoulders and take your head side to side. So I'm noticing I have so much more freedom in my head, in my neck, than I did at the beginning of class. I'm going to notice if I take a semicircle forward and around. I personally was feeling that stretch like down my whole spine, and now I'm feeling so much more free. And then as I come back through center, I would take also the spine, side bend, side to side, and again, I'm just noticing, wow, I feel so much more freedom. And then maybe that forward roll like we did at the beginning of class. Deep breaths, everyone, deep breaths. And what perhaps didn't feel available to you before is feeling a bit better now. So when you come back through center and you take your arm out to the side, stretch, and start to side bend, you might notice, oh wow, this is not feeling like the strain it was. And try a couple of times going into that side bend, as long as it's good and appropriate for your spine. Come through center, keep breathing deep, okay? Keep breathing deep as you're working your spine. Full deep breaths, open your spine. And then when I come back through center and go to the first side, I'm going to side bend, and then see how I'm just going to sweep forward and stretch it forward, and then go into my second side and come into the side bend. And then I reach around and out to the first side. I'm just gliding some easy movement between my two sides. So this should feel nice on your back. It should be a freeing feeling for your whole back. If it doesn't feel like that, just back through center and do one of the previous variations. So notice how I am. I'm letting my spine round, I'm letting my spine side bend, and then I'm letting my spine lengthen when I get to the side. Last couple times. When I come through that second side, I'm going to just gently lift up and hands to the thighs. Lift your shoulders up. Roll your shoulders back. Soften your shoulders down. Lift your chest. 2 more times. You're going to lift your shoulders up. Roll your shoulders back. Soften your shoulders down. And then 1 more time. Lift your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back and soften your shoulders down. Take that last little shake of the head. Let your head come all the way back through center. Let your head balance over the crown of the head. And take your palms in front of your heart. Press the palms, open the chest, close the eyes, and we'll seal this practice with some full deep breaths. Relax, but deepen your breath. Relax your face, throat, neck, shoulders, and back. Relax your chest, abdomen, and hips. As you breathe into your deepest parts, let your breath seep deeply into you. Breathe and feel your breath with gratitude. Feel gratitude for this body, for this breath, for this practice. I feel gratitude for you, for coming to the mat, for practicing with me today. Breathe deep and bow your head to your heart, bowing to the spirit within. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to lie down and take a shavasana. But I am going to leave you here for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.